very dear, close friend of mine who is maybe one of the greatest poets that I know. He doesn't like all of you, so he won't share his work. Also depressed, as it goes. My beautiful friend Will, my beautiful baby Will, and he once said to me, he's obviously much smarter than me, he knows all the poetry words. Can you believe that? He knows all of them. He can just throw them out, the pentameter, but all the, he knows that shit. But he once said to me that a good poem should be like a classic joke. It should be like a joke or a stand-up routine, sort of. That you have your hook, you have your setup, you know what I mean? You catch them, and then you lead them a little bit, and then you have a punchline, you know what I mean? And if you watch great comedy, there's several punchlines or micro punchlines in between there. Maybe they go off track, and I think that's a great way to think of it. You want that gut punch. That's the reaction. That's not the only way to do poetry. And obviously poetry is just this term, I think, that we use to slot in whatever's not short story length, right? It's just whatever, and whatever not lyrics. That's maybe dismissive. Who cares? I'm a poet now. I've been published as a poet. Spectre. I paid the $8. I got in there, baby. But so we have two poems here that are jokes. They're jokes. Different kinds of jokes. Jokes told very differently by two different comedians. And I don't think that's insulting to call either one of these guys comedians. And I mean that in the best way. I'd like to think of myself as somewhat of a comic, baby. But so these two poems, for whatever, and there's this half-life now of all this stuff, which I'll get into later when we get to the second half. It's Theo Thimbo, my dear friend Theo Thimbo, and my dear Taylor Napolsky. And there was a Substack by another great friend of ours. This is all four of us, close friends, believe it or not. About Alexandra. I don't know how to say her last name, so I'm not going to do it. But she had a great Substack article that some people got upset about, comparing these two poems, saying they were in conversation with each other. And here's the thing with criticism, even if that's, I would say that was a criticism of two poems and comparing them and talking about the flaws and the good things in them. But the thing with criticism is it's a lens, you know what I mean? It's just a lens that you flit on and off, you know what I mean? Just like reading something feministly, in whatever way. So that's one lens. But people got very, very upset for all kinds of reasons. And that is, it was quite the spectacle. That's how this stuff goes. But it's all lenses, man. And I think one of the things is the subject matter of both of these poems is taboo, or would be taboo, to attack the publications, to attack the readers. You know what I mean? These are seen as even low. And both poems are incredibly accusatory in different ways. But both, I think, are funny. Both are funny. And I hated both of them when I first read them, and I don't hate either of them anymore. Maybe that's sunk cost fallacy. Who knows? But let's start first with Theo Thimbo, who published Your Lit Mag Sucks. And the thing about this poem is, even though it's a way more personal poem, it is about specific things. There is no way inside of it. It is like a dying brain kind of pulling references together. Even the direct references, which I think there's one or two lines that will directly what the poem is about. It is about one thing. That even creates more distance. Even the personal brought in. And right on top of it, it's on the border of slop, if carefully constructed so. Because I hate using this word, but Theo is an absurdist, I guess. That is, and it is so funny. And you can tell during this reading that maybe he's never read it out loud, but it sort of took him off guard, the things he started to say, and he, and it's very funny. So let's just dig into that. There'll be Theo reading, and then a little tie-in song thing, and then we'll have Taylor's reading, and then you'll hear from me again. I forgot to say this. Fuck. So my big concept for this, what I decided on after I put this together was, back in like 2011, 2012, you ever on the street And there's guys out there who are like kind of aggressively trying to make you buy their mixtape from you, their rap mixtape, for $1 or $2. And both of these poems, I think at the end of the day, kind of remind me of that guy. And here's the thing, that guy, there might be some fire on that mixtape. So let's see. Okay, there we go. Sorry.
Yo, I'm reading this fucking thing over here. I'm at some diner right now with some friends, but let me fucking read this shit. This is my fucking alright. We got, I don't know what this is. Oh, I think this is the wrong chat. Yo, what's up? This is Your Lit Mag Sucks by Thimo. This was published up as our publishing house, alright? This is gonna be read by me. My name is Theo. So thank you for listening to my poem. Alright. Yo, what's up? This is Your Lit Mag Sucks by Thimo. Up as our publishing house. Thank you so much, David. Yo, let's get it. Yo, Taylor, you're not ready for this. Check it out. Your Lit Mag Sucks by Thimo. Your Lit Mag Sucks. Wait, let me try again. Yo. Okay. Yo, Your Lit Mag Sucks by Thimo. Yo. Okay, Your Lit Mag Sucks. Because nobody reads your dumb website, where all you do is publish histrionic liars who keep losing so badly they don't know what to do. And what happened to the old heads? Where's All Live 1.0 at? These new kids can't even read a short story in Spanish. They twerk on call to their friends. They go to school to fight girls. Bro, be submitting to Expat and Bizarre Publishing House. The scene may never recover. The consequences will never be the same. To the world, I'm sending out a major love. And this is my message to you. You done goofed. Because I backtraced it. You've just been reported to the cyber police. And that's my poem, bro. Thank you so much, everybody. Love you.
I'm Theo Napolsky, and I'm going to read my poem, The Bar Gets Raised, published by Plague Circus Press. This is my first take, so I'm hoping to nail it first take. So when I wrote this, I mostly just thought it was cool and interesting, and of course I was pumped that Plague Circus published it. So thank you, Oliver Land, Oliver Rules. I'm really happy with how it all went, though I do think it should have gotten nominated for Best of the Net award, but that's all good, no big deal. I've been promoting it a ton online, so that's just something I like to do, is push my work, promote it, and it's been nice getting it out there, and it's been nice just seeing what people have to say about it. It's also dope that I got asked to do this. It'll be cool to see if Response Pod comes back or what. The bar gets raised. Most people like terrible poems that get published online because it kind of gives them clout to say they liked it. It's not that they're idiots, it's just that I'm way smarter and better, and also they don't understand art. Like, it's more about how pretty is this girl who wrote it, or how much clout does this dude have. Okay then, I'll fawn over this weak shit and contribute to a messed up world of status and clout over everything. Okay, ITC, I'll take it further and acknowledge status and clout is legit all that matters, and art is just stupid. If you don't have status, you're stupid, and low-key, high-key, a worthless person. I know that David asked Theo to read a poem too, and that is the one we published on Bizarre Publishing House, so that'll be cool if he does it. Bizarre Publishing House, or BPH, that's a website I run with my friend Bizarre Miscreant, and Bizarre Miscreant, she does a pod called Starcaster too, so we're working really hard. We do online lit forum, which is like a space on Twitter, like it's a panel. We're just doing a lot. And last thing I wanted to say, if you do see this poem that I just read, The Bar Gets Raised, if you see it on X or see it on Instagram, please read it and repost it, because like I said before, I am trying to push it and really get it out there and get it seen. And so that's why I was pumped that David asked me to do this, because it's just a really good look. And that's about it. Follow this account called Napolsky Updates on X. It gives updates about me, you, and I have tons of work online, so just Google me. Okay, thanks for listening.
So, that was Taylor's poem. And I think you saw at first the idea was some kind of rap battle, because there's been so much drama about these two poems that are just kind of fun. And I think Taylor says himself that he just thought it was badass. And that's how art does, especially when I wrote or write songs. That's one of the big themes is this sounds fucking badass. And poetry's so linked to that. One thing I'd like to say is the formatting. Well, let's go here. I've always had a tender spot for Taylor, and I followed him very closely as some sort of enigma. I did not understand him because at once he is so public, and also you don't know anything about him, and he's so incredibly inscrutable and hard to read. Besides, he wants you to read his poems, and we'll get into people's controversy or something about that here in a second. But hearing his voice, and this isn't a dig, but Taylor has been on many audio things, and you do not get to hear his voice nearly enough. And when I heard his voice, it just washed over me this sort of warmth, because it's a very specific kind of accent and gentleness and phrasing that I spent 10 years in Seattle. And I know, one thing I know about Taylor is he is from around those areas or spent time there. And so that was such a nice comfort. Yeah, and it also kind of made, it kind of connected some dots for me. It's a specific kind of, especially poetry scene in about 2010, 2011 in Seattle, of this kind of promo. It is openness and meant with love, and it is easy to scoff at and cringe at. And I'm not saying that's what Taylor's doing, but that was a real thing. And I can kind of, maybe that's a thread of what's with Taylor? Who knows? But one thing I'll say about the poem is, well, lots of things I'll have to say, but one thing that comes to mind is the layout. It's very specific, like a notes app layout. It's laid out like something you would read on your notes app or something you would read out on your phone. And I think that's very interesting. I think that definitely informs the piece, the playful nature, the somewhat challenging nature of the piece. I think one of the things, especially that becomes clear when you hear him read it, is the perspective shifting and kind of swirling, you know what I mean, to even less resolution of who is saying this and what they are saying, how many levels of not necessarily irony, you know? And there's also, this is not, I think, fair to say a joke poem because it's about something. Theo's was also about something, but this is about something broader. Theo's was about a poop bandit, more or less. We're not going to get into that. But I think with both, I'm not going to get too much into this. I will say this. I think each one of these poems had different sorts of dumb little controversies about them that underline how absurd some of these things are and the things that they are seeming to comment on or at least poking fun at are. And I think Alexandra's Substack really picked up on that well. But I don't think they were written, they're not written to me in communication with each other, but they do communicate with each other. This is what I mean by lenses. And maybe that's just a not didactic, but linguistic kind of thing. But it really did get me thinking and want to read these poems, which I did not like and did not want to read. And it brought me closer to them and also closer, I think, to the writers in a way, because it's strange, especially these two poets, because online persona is wrapped up with them. You know, for better or for worse, that's wrapped up in it. It's direct, you know what I mean? Especially with this subject matter. And I think this last bout of everybody unfamiliar with the way Taylor promotes, and whether Taylor promotes genuinely or as a joke or as both, or just to, maybe it's cynical to think that it's like a grind culture kind of thing. I don't know. I think people feel revolted by it. And they can't explain why, and that kind of just feels wrapped up in useless academia stuff. You know what I mean? It's why is the world's changed? Why would we not? Why do you think it's distasteful to want to promote your things? You know what I mean? But then also maybe this is an Andy Kaufman kind of thing, and he's a fucking genius, because it is also very, I keep retweeting them because it makes people mad, and that's really fun to me. But I do think both pieces agree on one thing, and I think both of these writers are doing something about it. They are trying to. Theo will have a book that I'm sure will be fantastic. He hasn't sent me a copy yet for some reason. Coming out soon, and Taylor's just, you heard him, he's hustling, baby. He's, check out Napolsky updates. That's such a baller move. What's wrong with you? You have no shame. Yeah, but they both agree that the bar is low, and they are both trying to raise it. And I agree, bar's low. Let's get on it, baby.
can't believe it. I can't believe it. Yes, we're so. So I'm so. I'm